Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. This is your girl, Charlene, coming at you. Today is August the 30th, year 2023. My, how time has passed, guys. It just seems like, I don't know, like everybody say, like yesterday, it was New Year's Eve, 2022. And so January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and then August has almost passed. We are more than halfway through this year. And it's just amazing to think about everything that has happened within the last 9 months of this year. And so with that being said, this morning, the Lord just put in my spirit to talk about a change, and not only a change, but just people going through different things and what have you, and smiling faces. So that's kind of what I'm going to talk about this morning. And I'm not going to get too deep into it. I don't like to get too deep into things because I don't like the podcast to be everlasting. So anyway, this morning, let's just stick with smiling faces for right now. And a change is going to come. So again, before I get started onto this topic, I just want to go ahead and say to you guys that when I do podcasts, I just, speak on whatever the Lord puts in my spirit to speak about. Some people may agree with me and some people may not. And that's perfectly fine, because as I always say before I get started, this is just my take on things, my opinion, my personal thoughts and ideas, comments, and my personal understanding. That does not mean that mine is right, yours is wrong, and vice versa. So it's always good to get different perspectives on things, and then you can come to your own conclusion. And your conclusion may be just that, your conclusion. My conclusion may be just that, my conclusion. So enough said about that. I just want to go ahead and get that out there so that we can get into the meat of the topic. So how did this come to me? Again, the Lord just put it in my spirit to talk about. And I will elaborate on different examples maybe. So to get started, I would just say that a lot of times, I'll use me as an example right now. Some people have said to me, nobody is that happy all the time. You always seem to have a good spirit about you. You always seem so happy-go-lucky. Blah, blah, blah. So my point is, that is what people see. That is what is projected from my energy. And people who know me know that I believe that energy is everything. You can have a good and positive vibe about yourself, or you can have a negative vibe about yourself. And I feel like things happen in our lives that may put us in one place or another. And based on what happens in our life, we can have positive energy and we can also have negative energy. But I do believe that we as human beings were given the ultimate will to make out of whatever we are handed, to make out of it what we wish to make out of it. For instance, if you are at work and you are in a situation where your work environment is not a great environment, maybe because of your supervisor's attitude, or maybe there's some confrontation between you and another co-worker that exists. So you can make from that situation what you want to make from it. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some things that are above and beyond your ability to overlook. That's not what I'm referring to. But what I am referring to is that if a person is a certain way, you can either deal with that person or not. And, well, how can you not deal with somebody at work? What I mean by that is you deal with them at work exclusively. So once you clock out, leave work, what have you, you don't have to deal with that person anymore for the rest of that day. Now, yes, you have to come back the next day and deal with them. But when you go, that doesn't mean that you have to sit at break with them and have a conversation. That doesn't mean you have to go in and hee and ha with them. None of that. But that also does not mean that you have to act some kind of way towards them that is shady or, unprofessional. Just, continue to be the professional that you are at work. Do your work, make your peace. I mean, I even encourage you to speak. You can speak to someone. The Bible tells you to treat your enemies with kindness. So if you feel like this person is an enemy towards you, the Bible tells us to turn the other cheek. Yes, that is extremely hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is easy stuff, guys. But what I am saying that you have the choice to make it better or worse in that situation. I've worked in situations where I knew that the individuals were not, all that excited about being around me or want to work with me or what have you. But I didn't take it personally. I just used it, this is business, this is work, what have you. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to do my job. Yes, I will talk to them about certain things that's work related only, and that's it. So with these individuals, they never knew whether or not they were getting to me because I always kept the same demeanor. And I didn't necessarily do that for them. I did that for myself. I prayed about it. I prayed about them. I prayed about the situation. I went into work. I kept my couth. I stayed within my mental space. And what I mean by that, I was limited to I made it a point to have limited interaction with the people or the individual. I'll put it that way. So I just, I only spoke to them or went to them or what have you, if necessary. Other than that, there was no need to interact with this person. So that created an environment where I didn't have to continue to run into them or have run-ins with them. I hope that I'm making some sense and that you guys can understand what I'm trying to get to you through this message so far. So that would be a part of the smiling face. Now, when you think about smiling faces, there's a song, Smiling Faces. Yeah, that's so true. Sometimes people can be smiling in your face and stabbing you in your back at the same time. That's a different type of a smiling face. We have to be careful of that as well. So we have to continue to pray and watch at the same time, because some people that we think that are, for us are not actually for us. So the Lord put it in my spirit to continue to pray for those who despitefully use me and despitefully do things against me to try and make me look bad, at work, in a situation, or what have you. I have to pray for those people who are despitefully trying to use me. And then I also have to remember that no weapon that's formed against me shall prosper. And that's a different type of a smiling face. So I can continue to smile. I can continue to be positive. I can continue to walk by faith and not by sight. I can continue. And when I say I want to plug in you as well. You can continue to walk in faith, knowing that if God be for you, He's more than the whole world against you. Think about that, guys. If you just take a brief moment and visualize the whole world. The whole world. He didn't say some people. He didn't say people in your city. My city is Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He didn't say people in little itty bitty Winston-Salem. He didn't even say people in North Carolina. He didn't even say people in the United States. The Lord said, if I be for you, I'm more than the whole world against you. That alone is enough to make me have a smiling face. So when you go about your day and you're thinking about different things that may come before you, or different challenges that may be ahead of you, and obstacles and things of that nature, just continue to believe that God is who He said He is, and continue. What I like to do each morning is get up, of course, and pray and meditate and talk to the Lord and ask the Lord for guidance. Ask Him for temperance. Ask Him to help me to be that person that will exhibit those fruits of the Spirit, so that I can walk in meekness, so that I can walk in humbleness, so that when the devil and his little imps and his little demons and what have you try to come against me, that I will have some warfare. I will have some word. I will have some protection, and I will have that armor of God around me and those angels around me to protect me from this world. This is a mean, mean world out here, guys. A mean, mean world. And I'll plug this in. I have a little cousin that's attending middle school, and I won't call on names, but this is just it's the third day of school now back in my city. And his grandma and I were speaking, and he's already having some challenges in school with some things that's going on with other students that's bothering him. Guys, this stuff is real. So it doesn't even happen to just adults where we have bickering and, stuff going on. All of it under the surface, that ain't nothing but the enemy. So we have to call the enemy out. We have to tell God what our problems are, what our requests are. And we have to believe that God is going to do things for us. Now, the Bible tells us faith without works is dead. So if we ain't working by praying, we ain't working about believing God, we ain't working by standing on God's word and trusting God, then we are just praying in vain. I'm just going to be honest. I know some people who pray and talk about stuff or what have you, and I don't want to say that they are doing it in vain, but the Bible is saying faith without works is dead. So if you got that faith or what have you, and you're praying or whatever, but you ain't doing nothing about it, then you're just praying. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. You're just praying. So what I mean by doing something about it, and I use this analogy sometimes, I want my degree, okay? I want my degree. Now, I can want my degree all I want, but if I'm not doing anything to go get my degree, then am I going to get my degree? 10 times out of 10, no. Nobody's going to hand it to me. I've got to go and work for it. I've got to go and earn it. I've got to sweat for it. I've got to cry for it. I've got to shed some tears and burn some midnight oil. I've got to study. I got to do what I got to do to get that. So, guys, don't get mad at God when things don't fall in your lap, because He's telling us in His Word, He's given us directions on certain types of things that we need to do, certain kind of ways that we need to live, and the kind of faith that we need to have, and the work that we need to put in with that faith to get those things done. Now, sometimes God blesses us. Yes, He does. Yes, He does. And sometimes we don't even know what we may have done to earn whatever God has blessed us with. But at the same time, it must have been something good. And then he just answered our prayer, and that's where favor can come in. So there's a whole bunch that goes with this. And I kind of got off a little bit, but like I said, I just speak on what Jesus put in my spirit, so that came out. So that must have meant to been said. But back to the smiling faces and what have you. It's perfectly okay to have that smiling face. It's perfectly okay to be of good cheer. It's perfectly okay to be in a mindset that allows you to understand that We are in this world and not of it. Again, we are in this world and not of it. So we should not get tempted and tried and frustrated with things that's going on in this world. Trust and believe. I have my days. I'm not going to lie. Every day is not a sunshiny day. But guess what? The Lord, this is where that faith and that works come in. The Lord reminds me and helps and restores my faith. Gives me the strength that I need to surpass all understandings of whatever is happening to me. And not only that, then he reminds me that the joy of the Lord is my strength. So yes, I should continue to stay and lean on his word. Yes, I should continue to be happy knowing that I am with Jesus and he is with me. And I should be able to walk in faith and not by sight. Again, I should be able to walk on this earth right now, leaning on the everlasting Jesus, trusting in his holy word, and not looking at stuff with a human eye, but looking at stuff in the spirit. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this because I don't like my podcast to get super, super long. Because I want to make sure that I continue to capture the interest of the listener. But as always, please feel free to email me at vette618@yahoo.com. That's vet618@yahoo.com with any comments, questions, concerns, or if you would like to hear more about this topic, and we can collaborate and elaborate a bit more about smiling faces. Okay? Again, this is your girl Charlene. We're going to end it right here. And I hope that you have a blessed day. Continue to trust in Jesus. Trust in his holy word. Just continue to trust God. Just continue to be happy, knowing that the joy of the Lord is your strength. Continue to walk by faith, not by sight. And just continue to be yourself. I don't want to say be content, but be intentional on what you do each day. Be intentional on how you make that faith work. Because faith without works is dead. So make sure that you are not just saying, I've got faith in Jesus. I know that God's going to do this. I know that God's going to do it. Yes, he is. But you got to do your part also. You got to do your part also. And if you're not sure what that part is, that's where your prayer life can come in. And that's where God will be able to speak to you in the spirit, speak to you silently. And I spoke about this, sitting in silence. If you want to go back and listen to that podcast, that'll give you some insight on how you can sit in silence and be able to listen to the Lord so that he can direct your paths. Again, this is your girl Charlene. Have a blessed day. It's Wednesday. We are halfway through our work week, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your week and continue to be blessed. And bye-bye for now. Talk to you later.